The Life of Henry V, Act 3. Flourish, enter chorus. Thus, with imagined wing, our swift scene flies in motion of no less celerity than that of thought. Suppose that you have seen the well-appointed king at Hampton Pier embark his royalty and his brave fleet, with silken streamers and the young Phoebus fanning. Play with your fancies, and in them behold upon them the hempen tackle shipboys climbing. Hear the shrill whistle which doth order give to sounds confused. Behold the threadened sails, borne with the invisible and creeping wind, draw the huge bottoms through the furrowed sea, breasting the lofty surge. Oh, do but think, you stand upon the rivage, and behold a city on the inconstant billows dancing. For so appears this fleet majestical, holding due course to Harlflew. Follow, follow, grapple your minds to sternage of this navy, and leave your England as dead midnight, still, guarded with grandsires, babies, and old women, either past or not arrived to pith and puissance. For who is he whose chin is but enriched with one appearing hair, that will not follow these called and choice-drawn cavaliers to France? Work your thoughts, and therein see a siege. Behold the ordnance on their carriages, with fatal mouths gaping on girded Harlflew. Suppose the ambassador from the French comes back, tells Harry that the king doth offer him Catherine his daughter, and with her to dowry some petty and unprofitable dukedoms. The offer likes not, and the nimble gunner with linstock now the devilish cannon touches, and down goes all before them. Still be kind, and etch out our performance with your mind. Scene 1. Enter the king, Exeter, Bedford, and Gloucester, alarum. Enter soldiers with scaling ladders at Harlflew. King Henry. Once more unto the breach, dear friends, once more, or close the wall up with our English dead. In peace there's nothing so becomes a man as modest stillness and humility. But when the blast of war blows in our ears, then imitate the action of the tiger. Stiffen the sinews, conjure up the blood, disguise fair nature with hard-favored rage. Then lend the eye a terrible aspect. Let it pry through the portage of the head, like the brass cannon. Let the brow overwhelm it as fearfully as doth a galled rock overhang and jutty his confounded base. Swilled with the wild and wasteful ocean, now set the teeth and stretch the nostril wide, hold hard the breath, and bend up every spirit to fill his height. On, you noblest English, whose blood is fet from fathers of war-proof, fathers that, like so many Alexanders, have in these parts from morn till even fought, and sheathed their sword for lack of argument. Dishonor not your mothers, now attest that those whom you called fathers did beget you. Be copied now to men of grosser blood, and teach them how to war. And you, good yeomen, whose limbs were made in England, show us here the mettle of your pasture. Let us swear that you are worth your breeding, which I doubt not. For there is none of you so mean and base that hath not noble lustre in your eyes. I see you stand like greyhounds in the slips, straining upon the start. The game's afoot. Follow your spirit, and upon this charge cry, God for Harry, England, and St. George. Scene 2. Enter Nym, Bardolph, Pistol, and Boy. Bardolph. On! To the breach, to the breach! Pray thee, corporal, stay! The knocks are too hot, and for mine own part, I have not a case of lives. The humour of it is too hot, that is the very plain song of it. The plain song is most just, for humours do abound. Knocks go and come, God's vassals drop and die, and sword and shield in bloody field doth win immortal fame. Would I were in an alehouse in London, I would give all my fame for a pot of ale and safety. And I, if wishes would prevail with me, my purpose should not fail with me, but thither would I hie, as duly, but not as truly, as bird doth sing on bough. Up to the breach, you dogs! Avaunt, you cullions! Be merciful, great Duke, to men of mould. Abate thy rage, abate thy manly rage, abate thy rage, great Duke. Good bowcock, bate thy rage, use lenity, sweet chuck. These be good humours, your honour wins bad humours. As young as I am, I have observed these three swashers. I am boy to them all three, but all they three, though they would serve me, could not be man to me. For indeed three such antics do not amount to a man. For Bardolph he is white-livered and red-faced, by the means whereof faces it out, but fights not. For Pistol he hath a killing tongue and a quiet sword, by the means whereof breaks words and keeps whole weapons. For Nym he hath heard that men of few words are the best men, and therefore he scorns to say his prayers, lest should be thought a coward. But his few bad words are matched with as few good deeds, for never broke any man's head but his own, and that was against a post when he was drunk. They will steal anything, and call it purchase. Bardolph stole a lute case, bore it 12 leagues, and sold it for 3 halfpence. Nym and Bardolph are sworn brothers in filching, and in Calais they stole a fire shovel. I knew by that piece of service the men would carry coals. They would have me as familiar with men's pockets as their gloves or their handkerchiefs, which makes much against my manhood. If I should take from another's pocket to put into mine, for it is plain pocketing up of wrongs, I must leave them and seek some better service. Their villainy goes against my weak stomach, and therefore I must cast it up. Captain Flewlin, you must come presently to the mines. The Duke of Gloucester would speak with you. To the mines? Tell you the Duke it is not so good to come to the mines, for, look you, the mines is not according to the disciplines of war. The concavities of it is not sufficient. For look you, the anniversary you may discuss unto the Duke, look you, he has no more directions in the truth disciplines of the wars, look you, of the Roman disciplines, than is a puppy dog. Chant wars upon my particular knowledge of his directions. By Cheshire he will maintain his argument as well as any military man in the world, in the disciplines of the pristine wars of the Romans. I say good day, Captain Fluellen. God den to your worship, good Captain James. How now, Captain MacMorris, have you quit the mines? Have the pioneers given over? By Crish law, 'tis ill done. The workish give over, the trumpet sound the retreat. By my hand I swear, and my father's soul, the work ish ill done, it ish give over. I would have blowed up the town, so Crish save me law, in an hour. Oh, 'tis ill done, 'tis ill done, by my hand 'tis ill done. Captain MacMorris, I beseech you now, will you vouchsafe me, look you, a few disputations with you, as partly touching or concerning the disciplines of the war, the Roman wars, in the way of argument, look you in friendly communication, partly to satisfy my opinion, and partly for the satisfaction, look you, of my mind, as touching the direction of the military discipline, that is the point. It shall be very good, good faith, good Captain's Bath, and I shall quit you with good leave, as I may pick occasion, that shall I, marry. It is no time to discourse, so Crish save me. The day is hot, and the weather, and the wars, and the king, and the dukes. It is no time to discourse. The town is besieged, and the trumpet call us to the breach, and we talk, and be Crish do nothing. 'Tis shame for us all. So God save me. 'Tis shame to stand still, and it is shame by my hand. And there is throats to be cut, and works to be done, and there is nothing done. So Christ say me law. By the mess, ere these eyes of mine take themselves to slumber, I'll be good service, or I'll liggy I the grund for it, or go to death, and I'll pay it as valorously as I may. That shall I surely do, that is the breath and the long. Mary, I wad full fain heard some question tween you tway. Captain MacMorris, I think you look you, under your correction there is not many of your nation. Of my nation? What is my nation? Is a villain, and a bastard, and a knave, and a rascal? What is my nation? Who talks of my nation? Look you, if you take the matter otherwise than is meant, Captain MacMorris, peradventure I shall think you do not use me with that affability as in discretion you ought to use me, look you, being as good a man as yourself, both in the disciplines of war and in the derivation of my birth, and in other particularities. I do know you so good a man as myself, so Crish save me, I will cut off your head. Gentlemen both, you will mistake each other. Ay, that's a foul fault, a parley. The town sounds a parley. Captain MacMorris, when there is more better opportunity to be required, look you, I will be so bold as to tell you, I know the disciplines of war, and there is an end. Scene 3. Enter some citizens on the walls, enter the king and all his train before the gates. King Henry. How yet resolves the governor of the town? This is the latest parley we will admit. Therefore to our best mercy give yourselves, or like to men proud of destruction, defy us to our worst. For as I am a soldier, a name that in my thoughts becomes me best, If I begin the battery once again, I will not leave the half-achieved Harflew till in her ashes she lies buried. The gates of mercy shall be all shut up, and the fleshed soldier, rough and hard of heart, in liberty of bloody hand shall range, with conscience wide as hell, mowing like grass your fresh fair virgins and your flowering infants. What is it then to me if impious war, arrayed in flames like to the prince of fiends, do with his smirched complexion all fell feats, and linked to waste and desolation? What is it to me when you yourselves are cause, if your pure maidens fall into the hand of hot and forcing violation? What reign can hold licentious wickedness when down the hill he holds his fierce career? We may as bootless spend our vain command upon the enraged soldiers and their spoil, as send precepts to the Leviathan to come ashore. Therefore, you men of Harflew, take pity of your town and of your people, whiles yet my soldiers are in my command, whiles yet the cool and temperate wind of grace overblows the filthy and contagious clouds of headly murder, spoil, and villainy. If not, why, in a moment look to see the blind and bloody soldier with a foul hand defile the locks of your shrill shrieking daughters, your fathers taken by the silver beards, and their most reverend heads dashed to the walls, your naked infants spitted upon pikes, whiles the mad mothers with their howls confused do break the clouds, as did the wives of Jewry at Herod's bloody hunting slaughtermen. What say you? Will you yield and this avoid, or guilty in defense be thus destroyed? Our expectation hath this day an end. The dolphin, whom of succours we entreated, returns us that his powers are yet not ready to raise so great a siege. Therefore, great king, we yield our town and lives to thy soft mercy. Enter our gates, dispose of us and ours, for we no longer are defensible. Open your gates, come, Uncle Exeter, go you and enter Harflew, there remain, and fortify it strongly against the French. Use mercy to them all for us, dear uncle. The winter coming on, and sickness growing, upon our soldiers we will retire to Calais. Tonight in Harflew will we be your guest. Tomorrow for the march we are addressed. Scene 4. Enter Catherine and Alice, an old gentlewoman. Alice, tu as été en Angleterre, tu bien parles le langage. Un peu, madame. Je te prie, m'enseigner, il faut que j'apprenne à parler. Comment appelez-vous la main en anglais? La main, elle est appelée the hand. The hand et les doigts? Les doigts? Ma foi, j'ai oublié les doigts, mais je me souviendrai. Les doigts? Je pense qu'ils sont appelés des fingers. Oui, des fingers. La main de hand, les doigts, des fingres. Je pense que je suis le bon écolier. J'ai gagné du mode d'anglais. Évidemment, comment appelez-vous les Anglais? Les Angles? Nous les appelons des nails. Des nails? Écoutez, dites-moi si je parle bien. The hand, des fingers et des nails. C'est bien dit, madame. Il est fort bon anglais. Dites-moi anglais pour le bras. Des armes, madame. Et le coude? D'elbow. D'elbow. J'ai même fait la répétition de tous les mots que vous m'avez appris dès à présent. Il est trop difficile, madame, comme je pense. Excusez-moi, Alice, écoutez. The hand, the finger, the nails, the arm, the bilbo, the elbow, madame. Oh, Seigneur Dieu, je m'en oublie d'elbow. Comment appelez-vous le corps? The nick, madame. The nick et le menton, the chin, the sin. Le corps, the nick, le menton, the sin. Oui, sauf votre honneur, en vérité, vous prononcez les mots aussi joyeux que les natifs d'Angleterre. Je ne doute point d'apprendre par la grâce de Dieu et en peu de temps. N'avez-vous déjà oublié ce que je vous ai enseigné? Non, je réciterai à vous promptement the hand, the finger, the nail, the nails. Madame, des nails, dame, des elbows, sans votre honneur d'elbow. Ainsi dis-je d'elbow, de nick et de sin. Comment appelez-vous le pied de la robe? Le foot, madame, et le compte. Le foot et le compte? Oh, Seigneur Dieu, ils sont les mots de son mauvaises, corruptibles, grosses et impudiques, et non pour les dames de honneur de user. Je ne voudrais prononcer ces mots devant le Seigneur de France pour tout le monde. Fort, le foot et le camp. Néanmoins, je réciterai une autre fois ma leçon ensemble. The hand, the finger, the nails, the arm, the elbow, the neck, the sin, the foot, le camp. Excellent, madame. C'est assez pour une fois. Allons-nous à dîner. Scene 5. Enter the King of France, the Dauphin, the Duke of Britain, the Constable of France, and others. King of France. 'Tis certain he hath passed the river Somme. And if he be not fought withal, my lord, let us not live in France. Let us quit all, and give our vineyards to a barbarous people. Oh, Dieu vivant! Shall a few sprays of us, the emptying of our fathers' luxury, our scions, put in wild and savage stock, spurt up so suddenly into the clouds, and overlook their grafters? Normans, but bastard Normans, Norman bastards, mort Dieu, ma vie! If they march along unfought withal, but I will sell my dukedom to buy a slobbery and a dirty farm in that nook-shotten Isle of Albion. Dieu de bêtises! Where have they this metal? Is it not their climate foggy, raw, and dull, on whom, as in despite, the sun looks pale, killing their fruit with frowns? Can sodden water a drench for serene jades? Their barley broth decoct their cold blood to such valiant heat? And shall our quick blood, spirited with wine, seem frosty? Oh, for honor of our land, let us not hang like roping icicles upon our houses' thatch, whiles a more frosty people sweat drops of gallant youth in our rich fields. Poor we call them in their native lords. By faith and honor, our madames mock at us, and plainly say our metal is bred out, and they will give their bodies to the lust of English youth, to New Store France, with bastard warriors. They bid us to the English dancing schools, and teach levoltas high and swift coronatos, saying our grace is only in our heels, and that we are most lofty runaways. Where is Montjoy the herald? Speed him hence. Let him greet England with our sharp defiance. Up, princes, and with spirit of honor edged, more sharper than your swords, hie to the field. Charles de la Breath, High Constable of France, you Dukes of Orleans, Bourbon, and of Berry, Alençon, Brabant, Bar, and Burgundy, Jacques Chatillon, Rambours, Vendemont, Beaumont, Grand Pré, Roussy, and Falconbridge, Foy, Lestraic, Boucicault, and Charolois, high dukes, great princes, barons, lords, and knights, for your great seats now quit of you of great shames, bar hairy England that sweeps through our land with pennons painted in the blood of Harflew, rush on his host, and doth the melted snow upon the valleys whose low vassal seat the Alps doth spit and void his room upon. Go down upon him, you have power enough, and in a captive chariot into Rhone bring him our prisoner. This becomes the great. Sorry am I his numbers are so few, his soldiers sick and famished in their march, for I am sure when he shall see our army, he'll drop his heart into the sink of fear, and for achievement offer us his ransom. Therefore, Lord Constable, haste on Montjoy, and let him say to England that we send to know what willing ransom he will give. Prince Dolphin, you shall stay with us in Rhone. Not so, I do beseech your majesty. Be patient, for you shall remain with us. Now forth, Lord Constable, and princes all, and quickly bring us word of England's fall. Scene 6. Enter captains, English and Welsh, Gower and Fluellen. How now, Captain Fluellen, come you from the bridge? I assure you there is very excellent services committed at the bridge. Is the Duke of Exeter safe? The Duke of Exeter is as magnanimous as Agamemnon, and a man that I love and honor with my soul, and my heart, and my duty, and my life, and my living, and my uttermost power. He is not, God be praised and blessed, any hurt in the world, but keeps the bridge most valiantly, with excellent discipline. There is an ancient lieutenant there at the bridge. I think in my very conscience he is as valiant a man as Mark Antony, and he is a man of no estimation in the world, but I did see him do as gallant service. What do you call him? He is called Ancien Pistol. I know him not. Here is the man. Captain, I thee beseech to do me favours. The Duke of Exeter doth love thee well. Ay, I praise God, and I have merited some love at his hands. Bardolph, a soldier firm and sound of heart, and of buxom valour, hath by cruel fate and giddy fortune's furious fickle wheel, that goddess blind that stands upon the rolling restless stone. By your patience, Ancient Pistol, Fortune is painted blind, with a muffler afore his eyes, to signify to you that Fortune is blind, and she is painted also with a wheel, to signify to you, which is the moral of it, that she is turning, and inconstant in mutability and variation, and her foot, look you, is fixed upon a spherical stone, which rolls and rolls and rolls. In good truth, the poet makes a most excellent description of it. Fortune is an excellent moral. Fortune is Bardolph's foe, and frowns on him. for he hath stolen a pax, and hanged must to be a damned death. Let gallows gape for the dog, let man go free, and let not hemp his windpipe suffocate. But Exeter hath given the doom of death for pax of little price. Therefore go speak, the Duke will hear thy voice, and let not Bardolph's vital thread be cut with edge of penny cord and vile reproach. Speak, captain, for his life, and I will thee requite. Auncient pistol, I do partly understand your meaning. Why then rejoice therefore? Certainly, Auncient, it is not a thing to rejoice at. For if, look you, he were my brother, I would desire the Duke to use his good pleasure, and put him to execution, for discipline ought to be used. Die and be damned, and Figo for thy friendship. It is well, the fig of Spain. Very good. Why, this is an arrant counterfeit rascal. I remember him now, a bawd, a cut purse. I'll assure you, a uttered as brave words at the bridge as you shall see in a summer's day. But it is very well. What he has spoke to me, that is well, I warrant you, when time is served. Why, 'tis a gull, a fool, a rogue, that now and then goes to the wars, to grace himself at his return into London under the form of a soldier. And such fellows are perfit in the great commanders' names, and they will learn you by rote where services were done, at such and such a sconce, at such a breach, at such a convoy. Who came off bravely, who was shot, who disgraced, what terms the enemy stood on, and this they con perfectly in the phrase of war, which they trick up with new-tuned oaths, and what a beard of the general's cut, and a horrid suit of the camp will do among foaming bottles and ale-washed wits is wonderful to be thought on. But you must learn to know such slanders of the age, or else you may be marvellously mistook. I tell you what, Captain Gower, I do perceive he is not the man that he would gladly make show to the world he is. If I find a hole in his coat, I will tell him my mind. Hark you, the king is coming, and I must speak with him from the bridge. God bless your majesty. How now, Flewlin, camest thou from the bridge? So please your majesty, the Duke of Exeter has very gallantly maintained the bridge. The French is gone off, look you, and there is gallant and most brave passages. Marry, the adversary was have possession of the bridge, but he is enforced to retire. And the Duke of Exeter is master of the bridge. I can tell your majesty, the Duke is a brave man. What men have you lost, Flewlin? The perdition of the adversary hath been very great, reasonable great. Marry, for my part, I think the Duke hath lost never a man, but one that is like to be executed for robbing a church. One Bardolph, if your majesty know the man. His face is all bubbacles, and whelks, and knobs, and flames of fire, and his lips blows at his nose, and it is like a coal of fire, sometimes blue and sometimes red, but his nose is executed, and his fire's out. We would have all such offenders so cut off, and we give express charge that in our marches through the country there be nothing compelled from the villages, nothing taken but paid for, none of the French upbraided or abused in disdainful language, for when lenity and cruelty play for a kingdom, the gentler gamester is the soonest winner. You know me by my habit. Well then, I know thee. What shall I know of thee? My master's mind. Unfold it. Thus says my king, say thou to Harry of England, though we seemed dead, we did but sleep. Advantage is a better soldier than rashness. Tell him we could have rebuked him at Harflew, but that we thought not good to bruise an injury till it were full ripe. Now we speak upon our cue, and our voice is imperial. England shall repent his folly, see his weakness, and admire our sufferance. Bid him, therefore, consider of his ransom, which must proportion the losses we have borne, the subjects we have lost, the disgrace we have digested, which in wait to re-answer his pettiness would bow under. For our losses his exchequer is too poor, for the effusion of our blood, the muster of his kingdom too faint a number, and for our disgrace, his own person kneeling at our feet, but a weak and worthless satisfaction. To this add defiance, and tell him, for conclusion, he hath betrayed his followers, whose condemnation is pronounced. So far my king and master, so much my office. What is thy name? I know thy quality. Montjoy. Thou dost thy office fairly. Turn thee back, and tell thy king I do not seek him now, but could be willing to march on to Calais without impeachment, for to say the sooth, though 'tis no wisdom to confess so much unto an enemy of craft and vantage, my people are with sickness much enfeebled, my numbers lessened, and those few I have almost no better than so many French, who, when they were in health, I tell thee, Harold, I thought upon one pair of English legs did march 3 Frenchmen. Yet forgive me, God, that I do brag thus. This your heir of France hath blown that vice in me. I must repent. Go, therefore, tell thy master, here I am. My ransom is this frail and worthless trunk, my army but a weak and sickly guard. Yet, God before, tell him we will come on, though France himself and such another neighbor stand in our way. There's for thy labor, Montjoy. Go bid thy master well advise himself. If we may pass, we will. If we be hindered, we shall your tawny ground with your red blood discolor. And so, Montjoy, fare you well. The sum of all our answer is but this. We would not seek a battle as we are, nor as we are. We say we will not shun it. So tell your master. I shall deliver so, thanks to your highness. I hope they will not come upon us now. We are in God's hand, brother, not in theirs. March to the bridge, it now draws toward night. Beyond the rivers we'll encamp ourselves, and on tomorrow bid them march away. Scene 7. Enter the Constable of France, the Lord Rampiers, Orleans, Dolphin, and with others. Tut, I have the best armor of the world, would it were day. You have an excellent armor, but let my horse have his due. It is the best horse of Europe. Will it never be morning? My Lord of Orleans, and my Lord High Constable, you talk of horse and armor? You are as well provided of both as any prince in the world. What a long night is this! I will not change my horse with any that treads but on for pasterns. Sa! Ha! He bounds from the earth as if his entrails were hairs. He, le cheval volant, le Pegasus, chez les narines de feu. When I bestride him, I soar. I am hawk. He trots the air. The earth sings when he touches it. The basest horn of his hoof is more musical than the pipe of Hermes. He's of the color of the nutmeg, and of the heat of the ginger. It is a beast for Perseus. He is pure air and fire, and the dull elements of earth and water never appear in him, but only in patient stillness while his rider mounts him. He is indeed a horse, and all other jades you may call beasts. Indeed, my lord, it is a most absolute and excellent horse. It is the Prince of Palfrays. His neigh is like the bidding of a monarch, and his countenance enforces homage. No more, cousin. Nay, the man hath no wit that cannot, from the rising of the lark to the lodging of the lamb. Very deserved praise on my palfrey. It is a theme as fluent as the sea. Turn the sands into eloquent tongues, and my horse is argument for them all. 'Tis a subject for a sovereign to reason on, and for a sovereign to ride on, and for the world, familiar to us and unknown, to lay apart their particular functions and wonder at him. I once writ a sonnet in his praise, and began thus: Wonder of nature. I have heard a sonnet begin so to one's mistress. Then did they imitate that which I composed to my courser, for my horse is my mistress. Your mistress bears well, me well, which is the prescript praise and perfection of a good and particular mistress. Nay, for methought yesterday your mistress shrewdly shook your back. So perhaps did yours. Mine was not bridled. Oh, then belike she was old and gentle, and you rode like a kern of Ireland, your French hose off, and in your straight troussers. You have good judgment in horsemanship. Be warned by me, then. They that ride so, and ride not warily, fall into foul bogs. I had rather have my horse to my mistress. I had as live have my mistress a jade. I tell thee, constable, my mistress wears his own hair. I could make as true a boast as that if I had a sow to my mistress. Le chien est retourné à son propre vomissement, et le tuer lavé au bourbier. Thou makest use of anything. Yet do I not use my horse for my mistress, or any such proverb so little kin to the purpose? My lord constable, the armor that I saw in your tent tonight, are those stars or suns upon it? Stars, my lord. Some of them will fall tomorrow, I hope, and yet my sky shall not want. That may be, for you bear a many superfluously, and twere more honor somewhere away. Even as your horse bears your praises, who would trot as well, were some of your brags dismounted? Would I were able to load him with his desert. Will it never be day? I will trot tomorrow a mile, and my way shall be paved with English faces. I will not say so, for fear I should be faced out of my way. But I would it were morning, for I would fain be about the ears of the English. Who will go to hazard with me for 20 prisoners? You must first go yourself to hazard ere you have them. 'Tis midnight, I'll go arm myself. The dolphin longs for morning. He longs to eat the English. I think he will eat all he kills. By the white hand of my lady, he's a gallant prince. Swear by her foot that she may tread out the oath. He is simply the most active gentleman of France. Doing is activity, and he will still be doing. He never did harm that I heard of, nor will do none tomorrow. He will keep that good name still. I know him to be valiant. I was told that by one that knows him better than you. What's he? Marry, he told me so himself, and he said he cared not who knew it. He needs not, it is no hidden virtue in him. By my faith, sir, but it is. Never anybody saw it but his lackey. 'Tis a hooded valor, and when it appears, it will bait. Ill will never said well. I will cap that proverb with, there is flattery in friendship, and I will take up that with, give the devil his due. Well placed, there stands your friend for the devil. Have at the very eye of that proverb with a pox of the devil. You are the better at proverbs by how much a fool's bolt is soon shot. You have shot over. 'Tis not the first time you were overshot. My Lord High Constable, the English lie within 1,500 paces of your tents. Who hath measured the ground? The Lord Grand Pré. A valiant and most expert gentleman, would it were day. Alas, poor Harry of England, he longs not for the dawning as we do. What a wretched and peevish fellow is this King of England, to mope with his fat-brained followers so far out of his knowledge. If the English had any apprehension, they would run away. That they lack, for if their heads had any intellectual armor, they could never wear such heavy headpieces. That island of England breeds very valiant creatures. Their mastiffs are of unmatchable courage. Foolish curs that run winking into the mouth of a Russian bear and have their heads crushed like rotten apples. You may as well say that's a valiant flea that dare eat his breakfast on the lip of a lion. Just, and the men do sympathize with the mastiffs in robustious and rough coming on, leaving their wits with their wives, and then give them great meals of beef and iron and steel. They will eat like wolves and fight like devils. But these English are shroudly out of beef. Then shall we find tomorrow they have only stomachs to eat and none to fight. Now is it time to arm. Come, shall we about it? It is now 2 o'clock, but let me see by 10. We shall have each 100 Englishmen. End of Act 3. Amen. Praise be to God. Jesus Christ. Jah Rastafari. Bless.